Welcome back to the homestead. Today we're going to be doing the fuel filters on the Ram here, 6.7 liter Cummins. It's 2021, so common size, or common to the 2019 to 2025 will be called the Gen 5. So the first thing, go over the tools you're going to need. Need a 28 millimeter socket, 8 millimeter socket or wrench, something to catch diesel when you open up the canister. And so we're going to crawl underneath and show you the location of the first filter that we're going to replace. So here's the first underbody filter right here. They're both cartridge style, so it's in between the fuel tank and the exhaust pipe right above the drive shaft. You need a 28 millimeter socket to fit on this here, and your drain, which is right here, you need an 8 millimeter wrench or socket to open up the drain. So first thing I'm going to do, I've already cleaned it off with a paper towel. I'm going to open up the drain the fuel out into my bucket, and then I'll open up the cartridge and replace it. So it's opened and draining, and like everything, it's poorly set up. It's draining right onto the drive shaft. Not much you can really do about it. So there's going to be a little bit of splash. Just let it drain until it's got all the fuel out. You might be able to take this right out the side and speed it up. Okay, so I've got the plug pulled all the way out, and we'll just drain the fuel out of it. Okay, so it has stopped draining. I put the plug back in just so I don't lose it and keep it clean. And I'm gonna put my 28 millimeter socket on there, and so I got it cracked. You can hear the seal in there. Just open it up and just open this thing up, and then you pull the cartridge out. Okay, so there we have the filter off, and there's the cap over there. I'm gonna get out from underneath here, clean up that cap, and grab my clean filter and get ready to install it. So like I said, there is the filter that came out. It looks worse than it is because it's saturated in fuel, but this is the new one that we're going to put in. It came with a new O-ring for the filter housing, and we should probably just before we go any further, we'll touch on the fact that this truck has two fuel filters. This one here, the one we just took out for the rear, and then this one here goes in the engine compartment of the truck as well. If you're using Napa Gold, it's 300579 for the rear and 600255 NP for the front. I'm not, advertising for Napa Gold or supporting them, but that is what was readily available where I picked them up at Napa, obviously, so that's what they sell, so that's what I took. I'm sure the other brands are just as good. So I'm just going to grab the filter housing here now. Okay, so I took the old O-ring off. It goes right in here. I'm going to put the new O-ring on. Honestly, the old O-ring is probably just fine, but the fact that it just comes with a new one, put it on. It's a small step and some peace of mind having a fresh O-ring on your filter housing. Sorry about that, trying to do this without a cameraman. Okay, there, so the O-ring is in, and now the filter has a little O-ring on the bottom here. The bottom just goes right in like that. It sits right into this filter housing, and it sits in there pretty securely. You can turn it upside down. You can see I've cleaned up the cap here really well. I don't want to have any kind of dirt or debris that could go into the fuel system. So now I'm going to take this underneath and put it back in. Okay, so we slide it in. I'm going to thread it on hand tight for starters. This is the easy part here, obviously. And then grab my ratchet and tighten it up the rest of the way. Okay, there we go. I've got to put back in. The drain is in the same position it was when I took it out. I tightened up a little better when I got under here. The last fuel filter job I had done at the dealership, and this drain was only finger tight. I did not need that 8 millimeter wrench, so I wanted it to be a little bit tighter, but Again, these are all plastic threads, so don't over tighten plastic threads. That's really gonna cause you a problem. Now this is done. I don't need to do anything else here. There's no pre-charging of these filters as they, it goes up. So this is a self-priming system. The last step we're gonna go over is how to, second last step is gonna be how to prime the system. So now we'll go to the front of the truck and do the one inside the engine compartment. Okay, so now we're inside the engine compartment. There's your filter housing inside the engine compartment on the driver's side of the engine, down below the master cylinder for the brakes. You can see it down there. So you're going to need some extensions and a universal to get onto that. That yellow knob there is the drain for this filter housing. Your same thing, it's an 8mm. If you're going to get onto that one, you're probably going to want a socket rather than a wrench like I had down there. So first I'll open that. You're going to want to put a drain pan below this, and I'm sure that it's going to land on something before it hits the drain pan, and it's going to splash all over the place like the back one did. I don't really see a way around that, but we'll see how this one goes. Okay, so I'm learning this as we're going over this, right? So I was having a real heck of a time with the 10mm on that. This is what I had put together just to reach it. And it just I wasn't really able to get it. So there's a Phillips screwdriver head on top, and I was able to reach it with this big Phillips screwdriver and turn it. Okay, so here's what I'm using to access it. I've got two extensions, a 5-inch and a 12-inch, the U-joint, the 28-inch or 28mm socket, and my 1/2-inch bracket. It was a bit of a struggle. The shop that did this last time, I would say, over torqued that filter housing. It was a real fight to get it going at first, but we've got it loose now and opening up. So it's about to come out now. It's probably kind of tight. I can probably get it by hand. So pull this thing out. Reach down. Take this cap off. That comes out, and there's your filter right there. Oh, don't drop it. Okay, so that, and we'll pull the filter out. Okay, I've got the filter out. I'm hoping you can see it, but there is an O-ring at the bottom of those threads that's included with the filter. So we pull that O-ring off and replace that as well. Now there's the two filters side by side. This one is the Mopar filter, I believe it is. Came from the dealership. This is the Napa Gold. They look a little bit different, but they should both fit. So we're going to put this filter in after I put the O-ring in, and we'll see how it goes. All right, the filter is inside the housing. Now I'm going to put the cap down there and thread the cap on. Now I got my ratchet on, and I'll just torque it back down, and then we can get to priming the system. All right, so I've got it torqued down. I did not torque it to its spec, 30.5 Newton meters, I believe it was, it said on it. I just tightened it up. So now we have the yellow drain plug down there. We're gonna leave that open while we prime the system, and we'll go into the truck and we'll do that. Okay, so to prime, what we wanna do is we wanna push the button twice to put it into the on position, not accessory, but on, and that'll start the fuel pump. I can hear it working. And they say you want to do this about 4 times. And what you're going to want to see is you're going to want to see the some fuel coming out of your drain plug up front there. So I'll do it again. And I've already got fuel coming out, so I'm going to go tighten up that drain. And the nice thing about the front one here is that yellow knob there, sorry about the focusing issues, there's a hose that comes off of that actually. So it comes through the hose and stripping down into my drain pan. So I'm going to close this now. Okay, so no more fuel draining. I'll go start the engine now, and it should go. And here we go, we're going to give it a start. So it cranked longer than normal, but it started up. Fuel system is primed, and now we need to deal with the fuel filter service required. light. We'll show you how to reset that. A little bit of a burp there with some air in the system, but I think we got her right. Okay, so in the accessory position, we're going to hit the down arrow till we get to vehicle info. You can go to oil life. I've just done an oil change fairly recently. Right to get to fuel filter life. Hold the right arrow down to reset. It says no or yes. Go down to yes. Hold down the right arrow. 100% fuel filter. And there we go. Oh, we got it running. Just have a quick look underneath. Any leaks? Any leaks? Yeah, I got a bunch of fuel on the ground from when I was draining that one. Having these things drain out and land on differentials and sway bars and drive shafts is just ridiculous. But I'll throw some peat moss down on that and clean it up. But that's how we do her. So a fella at work asked me why I bother doing this kind of stuff. Why don't I just take it to the dealership and do it? And my reasoning for that, the quote on the fuel filters on this truck, including the filters and labor, is just over $500 here in Canada, which to me is outrageous. I got the fuel filters they came to $170 at Napa with the discount, and that to me is more than worthwhile. So, basically save myself just over $300 by doing it myself, and maybe an hour of my time, and I don't have a problem with that at all. So my last step that I do is I track the kilometers, because the truck is still under warranty. I have 150,281 kilometers. So I come over to my maintenance log, and I'm going to write down today's date. For what it's worth, I write down what kind of filters I used, and this here is my proof to the shop if I do ever have warranty issues that I'm doing my servicing. So I've got my oil changes. I've got some other stuff in here too. This truck, we haven't had it for that long, so I've started doing all my own servicing, and I keep a maintenance log so that I can prove that I've been doing my servicing. And so that is my my homesteading video for the day. Not sure when I'll put the next one out, but to me, anything that you can do for yourself, why pay somebody to do something that you can do for yourself? I get satisfaction out of doing the work, and I kind of enjoy doing the work, and I'm glad that I can get this done. So that is fuel filters on a 2021 Ram 3500 with the 6.7 liter Cummins. Stay tuned, subscribe for more maintenance tips, homesteading tips, and we'll catch you on the next one.